Somewhere inside all of us is the power to change the world. We have with us Manisha Ahlawat, the national spokesperson of Rashtriya Lokdal. She contested the Uttar Pradesh Legislative Assembly elections in 2022 as a SPRLD candidate at the Meerut Cantonment constituency. Thank you very much, Manisha, for being here.
Thank you, Aparna, for remembering me and inviting me.
Thank you so much. Can we start by, sharing your story? What inspired you to join politics?
Yes, see, first and foremost, my family background was a bit political. My father's uncle was in politics, and then my father was MLA from Sardana constituency. So around us while growing up, whether we knew it, I mean, not consciously, but subconsciously, we were absorbing a lot of, politics from around us, political and social issues, and there was always something or the other going on. But there was no expectation from women to join politics. Like, we were in the background. Yes, things were happening around us. We would talk about it, but we were never part of it. And but fortunately, I got to leave that small town, and I was in US for 9 years. I did my MBA there, and I saw a different world, a different perspective. Where being a woman was not really, at least at the surface, and at the level that I understood, I felt it was much more. I got much more freedom to do things than I did in the small town of Meerut.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that just widened my horizons. And when I came back in 2003, I was really looking forward to public service of some kind. I had prepared for IAS. That didn't work out, and then I kind of got busy with my children. And throughout all these years, I was really very active and aware of the politics around me, though I wasn't part of my father's politics. But since I was in Delhi, I was part of the IAC. I was a volunteer for Aam Aadmi Party, and so on, wherever. And I was very aware of my local MLA and what they were doing and whom I should vote. So I think I was already part of politics as a citizen, and this was just being on the other side of the table, like being the representative. So I thought that since I'm I kind of realized that someone like me is kind of rare, coming from that part of the country, that part of the state. We are talking Western UP. In UP also, we are talking Meerut, which is very, we have a very patriarchal, conservative society, and I didn't see a lot of women in politics, frankly. So, and that got me thinking that if I have the opportunity, and my father being in politics, maybe I should make use of that, and at least for the sake of representation of women, I should be there. I should be seen at least. So I did not have this in my mind whether I'm going to win the election or should I go for the winning seat. I was just focused on that I should be able to contest at least. And because I was part of a lot of women's groups, like She the People, not She the People. This was a UN program, which was in which UN Women had conducted a program in which they selected a cohort of women, and we were in a program which was preparing us for this kind of leadership. And I realized that out of the 50 odd women, like, none of us were really close to contesting elections. So everyone is aspiring, but it's a long road ahead. And because I have been so close to the kind of politics that is, practiced in North India and especially in West UP, I realize it's next to impossible if we go the like how they say one should work their way up. Like there are women are not even allowed to work, so how do they you know uh, get there? So I thought that I had that opportunity, um, because my father had some so that political legacy, which people are so against nowadays, that they say no, one should um, work their way up, and there should be no family legacy and so on. But tell me that how does a woman then enter politics? How? I mean, we have in this 1.3 billion people, we have maybe, I can count on my fingers the women who have made it to the top on their own, you know.
Even
And then too, I mean, it's like a huge struggle. Like I sometimes, it's a miracle that they reached where they are, whether it is Mamata Banerjee or it is Mayawati ji or Jayalalitha or you name it. These are the women who made it to the top without a family background, so to say. But look at their struggle. Look at how they're treated. Like they are dehumanized. Anybody can say anything about them. It's so difficult. They can't have a family life, um, and and at the same level, the men, they could be doing anything in their personal lives. They could have 3 wives, 4 wives. Nobody questions them. So it's very difficult for a woman to uh, grow in politics unless. So this is what where we are as a country, as a polity today. I hope this changes. I hope that we have, um, institutions and organizations that, at least in the beginning, till the time there is an equal or level playing field, women should be given some kind of a, affirmative actions, or I don't want to say reservation because it's looked at very negatively, but just like in other countries, and in America, they have affirmative action, equal opportunities commission. So I think there should be a demand from everyone that there should be this percentage of women in every institute and every organization at every decision making table. So this was my this is the kind of thinking that I had developed over the last few years, because when now I was in India and I was observing the local politics, the national politics, and I was seeing that there are no women, so so just that was my um, real motivation, that because my father has been in politics for so many years, and it never I really didn't I'm not in politics for just for politics. I'm in politics to increase the number of women in politics. That's foremost, and then of course if I'm given the job, then I will do it well. But I think representation matters.
We have something in common in being civil service aspirants at some point in time. I didn't.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
no, it isn't. It isn't easy for the people who do not have any political connections or the legacy of the kind which you told. So, did you have to face any struggles while contesting the elections or while campaigning, or during that time period till you went ahead with when you went ahead with the decision like that? Do you have any struggles, and how was the experience per se?
Um, so I think the journey to where you actually get the ticket to contest, that's unique for everybody, and it more than qualification and anything. I think it's a very complex system, if there is a system. but most people will tell you this, that it's a lot of luck,
Mm.
um, where you get the ticket from,
Mm.
you know, and then the timing when you get the ticket.
Mhm.
So, because we still do not have issue-based politics,
Mm.
or we still don't have a politics where constituents are looking at
Mhm.
the qualifications of the candidate, and
Mhm. Mm.
the capability of
Mm.
education.
Mm.
That is really not
Mm.
a consideration yet.
Mhm.
What people are looking at today is, and I think um, so that makes it difficult for
Mm.
anybody to, even for a party leadership to choose a good candidate. It becomes difficult because um, they don't know what the constituents want. It's just it's a wave. Modi wave आएगा तो वो बन जाएंगे,
Mhm.
कोई और wave आएगा तो कोई और बन जाएगा. So you have to be lucky to be riding on a certain wave.
Mm.
So, but anyhow, I wasn't even strategizing, or I wasn't doing any of that. My only goal this time was to contest,
Mhm.
and I got to do that, and I would say luck had a lot of a big role in that. I don't know if it was good luck or bad luck, but but I did get to contest, so that itself was a big thing. And especially in my community,
Mm.
I belong to the dominant Jat community in West UP, and I have I have not in my memory ever known of um, a Jat leader um, who has you know um, um, made her daughter as a candidate, or passed on the political legacy to the daughter.
Mm.
It would either be the son or maybe the daughter-in-law, but never the daughter.
Mhm.
So that itself was a big barrier, broken.
Mm.
And then, so for me, just my father saying that, my daughter is going to
Mm.
join politics.
Mm.
Even before I got the ticket,
Mm.
even before that, I thought I'd kind of won half the battle,
Mm.
because he was introducing me as a candidate, potential candidate, and so I was meeting people. I was now in the public eye.
Mm.
That became a story in the local newspapers.
Mhm.
So just that also matters. And whenever, if I'm going to, so we were doing the rounds of all the villages, you know so if we are going to a village, and if the word, and I could see my father speaking on the phone, and he would be saying, that महिलाओं को भी बुलाना, कि बेटी भी आ रही है. So
Mhm.
just that because I was present, a few women were also
Mm.
called forward. And so then I made it a point at every meeting that I went to, then I started saying this, that आप महिलाओं को बुलाएंगे तो मैं आऊंगी.
Mhm.
Or and then when after I got the ticket, and it was announced that I was contesting from Meerut Cant, so we had a very whirlwind, kind of very intense campaign, because it was just 20 days.
Mm.
And so I made sure that I gave center stage to women.
Mhm.
Even then, even there were some local women, aspiring politicians, and I was really happy to see that there were some. So I would always pass on the mic to them, that they must speak, and they should be sitting next to me. We had to nudge out some of the men who didn't want to
Mm.
vacate the seats, but we did it. And
Mm.
and sometimes whenever I walk, if I walked into like a program, they call it a program, that,
Mhm.
हमने आपके लिए program रखा है. So there would always be men there, and then I would ask them to, like, vacate the first row for women. and it would be uncomfortable sometimes, but there were people with me who were saying that ये ऐसे नहीं करना चाहिए आपको, ये भी voter हैं. And I was like, I'm this time I I just want to make sure that there are women are seen, I am seen, and who cares about winning and losing, because um, you know I wasn't expecting to win. It's a very tough constituency. It's like it has been with the right wing or the BJP for last 40 years.
You
So,
were
and
working
this,
in a different constituency before this.
yes,
Working with
yes,
different
so that was
constituency.
Sardhana. Sardhana is where, my father who had been an MLA in the past from. But unfortunately, I didn't get the ticket from that constituency. And I had kind of given up, um, but our national president, Mr. Jain Chaudhary, so I think whenever I met him, I made a very strong point about how, if you're trying to reinvent the party, but how, if there are no women, like where are the women in the party? And so I said that, I think he remembered that. And so when the Meerut can ticket came up, they called me. I was actually called by the party and offered the ticket, and knowing that it's not a winning ticket. But he very graciously said that you had shown a very strong, prabal ichha aapne dikhai thi to contest. So I'm just requesting that if this is the ticket you can contest on. And at that time, the party was very confident that, there will be a change of government. So I was told that, we'll make sure that you have something, how they can give you appointments later on. But I was still, regardless of all that, I was happy that, I would be able to contest. And frankly, even if I don't contest again, I'm not sure. Like I said, it's a lot of luck and how those, the permutations and combinations of parties and leaders that really determine whether who gets the ticket from where. It's now, so that's also something which is not really working fine in our democracy. That एक true representation नहीं है. There's it's the candidate is not always someone who the people in the constituency want. The people actually the people have no want, like they are being herded on one wave or the other wave. So I think there's a big need to educate and the voters, and the voters need to realize that what that vote means, what that election means. It's not a party that's winning, it's you are winning or losing. But abhi sab log election is like a match. They're looking at it as a spectator. You're not a spectator, you're part of the game. So that's what they need to realize. But right now, it's just, I see a lot of voters, most voters are just simply spectators who are cheering this team or that team, and then one team wins and everybody goes home. Nice show. We got paid, we had fun, and so it's like a festival truly. If you, the campaign experience you asked about, so it's truly like a festival, you feel like, I don't know. I mean, the closest is a wedding procession, because you're garlanded and you're the chief person. So it's quite funny, and I used to feel very amused many times. And I was very uncomfortable also, because I felt this is the time I could be using to meet so many people, talk to people. But you have to really, people get upset if you don't, like, we have set a program for you, that we have invited so many people. So it's kind of, like I said, I mean, it's like it's a feast, it's a festival, it's a procession, it's a cricket match, it's a Bollywood movie. but it's not a democratic exercise, which it should be. So that is something we need to bring back, you know.
You in your election promises also you were like you were giving promise to train and empower women
Yeah,
also,
yeah,
like 100 women for elections. Like you were talking about Emily's list also.
yes,
I
yes.
think is an incredible idea. Are you
Yes,
doing
yes,
anything
like I said,
in this regard?
we I started so I was never part of the local politics
Mm.
in Meerut. I was very aware of the issues um, because I used to be involved in farming, and I was visiting all the villages much before. Like, this is from last 3-4 years, which I was doing, and that's how I became really empathetic towards the farmers' cause. Because living in cities, you don't realize what the farmers are going through, and so the Emily's list kind of. So that comes from my Western, you can say,
Exposure.
exposure.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that when I see a lot of aspiring women politicians, and then there's 2-3 obstacles, huge obstacles, like one we already talked about. If you do not have uh, a family background or someone who's mentoring you, how does a woman, work her way up in politics? It's
Mm-hmm.
next to impossible. So one is that because we are a very, very highly patriarchal society, and the way we see women, um, if you talk of politics, few years ago, they only talked about, oh, so you want to be like Indira Gandhi, so there is no other comparison, right? It's Indira Gandhi and then nobody. Um, but in the last 30 years, we can say 20, 30 years, we've seen other women politicians who have become chief ministers and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So, uh, so it's not impossible anymore. It's possible, but a lot of things have to come together. For example, you need to find a very strong mentor, like Mayawati ji had Kanshiram,
Mm-hmm.
Jayalalitha had someone. So, and then you have to live with the stories that go with it,
Mm-hmm.
about your character and everything.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing you need is a lot of money. So politics without money is, especially contesting elections, is next to impossible now because of the capitalist culture we have. It has also you know come into politics. So everything is marketing. For marketing, you need salespeople, you need campaigns, and when campaigns need money, and people who need to be paid. So election has become a very expensive exercise, and most women don't have that because women don't inherit money. Over the generations, money accrues to the men. You know, women are women don't work for money. They do work, but they work for free in their homes, and they don't get paid for it, so they don't get to save anything. At the end of her career, she's probably again at the mercy of some, son or brother or whoever. So it's very difficult. Women can't step out and build an empire. I mean, it is a men's world. I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of women entrepreneurs we are celebrating, but you look closely, they belong to a business family. Very rarely you will see a woman who has made it on her own, or she's come from a very poor or humble background and then made it on her own. Look closely, there is a privilege attached somewhere. So so that's what I feel. I feel these are major obstacles. So in US, what I'd seen was something like Emily's List, where they choose these women, and then they They qualify them, and then the progressive and the ones with the secular, progressive, democratic, uh, you candidates are selected, and then they are funded, because America is the ultimate, where if you are thinking election, you better think fundraising first. So and there it is all, it's a formal, or it's all part of the process. In India, maybe especially in the rural areas, it's mostly ki chanda mil jayega, chanda, so they, when you contest election, aap chanda le lijiye. But US may, it is a very organized thing, raising funds for an election. And until unless you have a consultant or a company, proper company that is doing the fundraising for you, and these are this many funds you can raise, you can't even think of contesting. So I thought maybe we could have an organization like that here to pick these women, and at least the funding part can be taken care of. And then of course we can have training, though none of the men I know who are in politics have been trained in anything. but women are expected to be trained in everything, so okay, fine, train them. But if you have money, you can hire trained people, so you don't need to really know everything. Because when I was part of a program, that's what I felt. Oh my goodness, like I have to learn organizing, I have to learn campaigning, I have to learn how to speak, I have to learn to write my story. But if I had the money, I can have other people doing this for me, and I can focus on what I should be doing as a representative, is uh, working on those issues and policies. I should be working on policies, solutions, and not marketing myself and things like that. So that was the idea. But like I said, in India, especially my experience is that the constituencies that we are working in West UP, whether it's Meerut, Sardana, or Muzaffarnagar, or Bijnor, Saharanpur, Bagpat, these are the areas that we work in. One, leadership, you can't inculcate or give to someone, just select people and make them leaders. That's not possible. This has to be an expectation. This has to be inculcated in your how you are brought up, and it takes a few years of deconditioning that, because women are so deeply conditioned that they cannot be leaders, right? They are, I have seen hostility towards me, because they don't expect women to speak up and talk about important things. I have seen this. I'm talking about something very important, and suddenly someone will cut me. So, what do your kids do? Are you able to give time to them? Suddenly they will cut me off, because reminding me, like, this is what you should be worrying about, and not these important things. Leave it to the men. So, and you suddenly, like, where did that come from? We were talking about something so important, and you suddenly asking me, so your husband doesn't come with you? He doesn't accompany you? Something like that. So just reminding you that, you're a woman, and, just stay in your place. So abhi itna hostility hai just by seeing a woman, speaking up and talking about leading and leadership. So imagine this they can do to a woman who's like a bona fide politician candidate. What are they doing to the women in their homes? Are they being even, so I have, so when people say we don't have women candidates, I now understand, because where will they come from? They have to be first raised in the homes. First, in your home, you have to be told that you can do this. Only then you will step out, right? How many women can rebel? How many women will break away from their homes, and how? What will they earn, and how will they, So they'll be exploited once, even if you step out, you will be exploited in so many different ways that you will regret that you even stepped out. So first and foremost is that in our homes we need to bring up leaders, and that takes a generation. If we start now, maybe in the next 10 years we can expect a lot of women entering politics. I see that now. Okay, I'm seeing that now because possibly it has already started. I see that now in young sports women. So you'll see a lot of women, girls are winning in sports. And every girl who's winning, look closely, it's her father behind her. It is a father who was waking up at 4 a.m. with the daughter, taking her to the stadium, sitting there quietly, giving her lunch, giving her water when she needs it, and coming back home with her. If she did not have that support, she will nowhere be close to the podium. Forget, anything else. So that support from a father or a brother is so much needed because, again, I repeat, it is a man's world still. So we need the men to come forward and start supporting the women. I could enter politics because my father, my brother, everybody supported me. I mean, whether I pushed them, that's another story. What happened inside our house is another story. But when we were seen in public, he was holding my hand and he was saying, she is going to be your candidate. So a father saying that is an endorsement. And in a patriarchal culture, that's how we begin. We cannot just fight and we say, oh, no, I need to, have more women. And, these are just empty words. So when I said that I want to groom 100 women leaders, I'm working on that. But the reality check is that it is going to take longer than what I thought, because they're just a handful of women. And in my own way, I do support them. So I also have an NGO that is working in the same area, Meerut and Muzaffarnagar. And what we are doing is we are opening I call them education centers in the underprivileged localities. So what we are doing right now is we are just giving them free tuitions. So these are children who, most of them are not able to afford any educations. So they are in some kind of a government school or a private school which has 100 rupees fees, but they are not really getting any education. So in the evening we call them for 2 hours, and we have hired teachers, proper teachers who are teaching them. So even if they don't get that, miss out on something in their school, they will get in these centers. And along with that, then we have started other programs. For example, theater, sessions on health and hygiene, and then sessions on politics. So I feel that that's where, and we are keeping a keen eye out for girls who are interested in politics. And so all the activities that should have been provided to them in their schools, we are providing to them. For example, sports. So we are giving them karate training, or whoever is interested, say music, and this is all being done free of cost. So it's free to them. But we're doing proper registrations and keeping a record of everything, how they are performing when they started and how they will be performing in the next few months. So I feel that from there, and this is a totally women run program. The director is a girl. who has who I've known personally. She's come from a village. She's a survivor of a personal tragedy where the upper caste people in a village tried to stop her from studying, and in the process, she lost her parents, and she almost herself was also under threat, and how she has survived, and now she's running. She went to Tata Institute um, and graduated, and then she chose to work in Meerut. For me, though, she could have worked anywhere in the country. So she's heading this project, and she's one of the leaders that I can say that, in the coming years, she doesn't know it yet, but she is a budding politician. And so, then there are about 12 women who are working under her, who are teachers and who are, volunteers. And I feel, so we are not talking of politics as politics. We are talking of politics along with education, along with this other activities that we are doing. So I feel, it is not going to be we select 100 women and we put them in a program and they'll be the next. Aisa nahi hoga. That's what I've understood. So, and I feel it's a long drawn process, but we have to begin somewhere. And because I'm working in that part of the state and city, we are continuously looking out for women. So yeah, that's how there's no, it's not. I cannot tell you that, okay, sure, out of 100 we have trained 10. It's not like that. So, but we are continuing. Maybe in the next 2-3 years we will have some women contesting. So there are a couple of women even now. There will be this municipal elections, and I think we will be able to support them if they get the ticket. Yeah. That.
So recently, Congress, in the previous election, Congress announced 40% of their party tickets to women. So did it have any impact on women in UP? Do you think that more parties will follow something like the same?
I think it remains to be seen the impact of the campaign, but at that time it was talked about a lot. In fact, even in my some of the interviews, people asked about it. So just that it made this point of discussion. I think that itself was good enough, and they did really give tickets to women. So I think it was a good campaign, well timed, and and I hope that more parties will, go for these kind of campaigns in future.
Yeah. So I've gone to your campaign interviews and all. In all your interviews, you were talking about real issues like education, or waste management, or
Right,
roads, or street lights. Unlike the usual divisive strategies that have become pervasive during the election campaigns.
right, right.
I was like, how can we motivate more people to do that, or how do we encourage so that more people who care about these real issues take part in mainstream politics, electoral politics?
I think the easiest for me or anybody in my position who's who's contesting elections or who is an MLA or an MP, easiest thing is to talk about these issues and just not talk about anything else. During my campaign also, there were journalists who wanted to talk to me about, oh, आपकी जो पार्टी है वो जाट पार्टी है, आप ये हैं, so आप जाट हैं. So I said, why are you asking me this? What's the relevance here? So I just refused to answer these kind of questions, and I would bring them back to the real issues. I said, ask me about what the people are going to vote for, what the issues that are, nobody's worried about what caste I am. but maybe their the status of their electricity, water, safai, sadak. Maybe that's what you should be asking me questions about. Ask me whether I have the solutions. So, so I always steered the conversation back to these issues, and so yeah, I think that's what one should do. And when leaders talk about real issues, people are reminded of real issues because they want the solutions. They do, but like I said, now elections have actually become like like a tamasha. So people want better and better tamasha. कौन अच्छा बोलता है, कौन अच्छा एक जुमला चाहिए, भाषण चाहिए, but जवाब नहीं चाहिए.
I've seen
So
that even motivating people to, asking people to look into party manifestos and motivating people
right,
to
right,
select the
right.
person and
I
not
even put
the
my
party.
resume. I put my resume on online on
Mm-hmm.
Facebook, and I said I asked people that now get the other candidate's resume and compare. Think of this as a recruitment.
Mm-hmm.
You are recruiting your representative for the next 5 years. So you must look at the resume, right? Are they qualified? Can they talk about issues? Are they aware of the issues? Are they fit enough to work? Because it is also a lot of work. And if you are going to elect some 80-year-old, I mean, don't expect them to step out then. 80 years old should be resting. So these are the things that I talked about. And I feel that if more and more candidates talk about this, and all well-meaning candidates will talk about these issues, but if someone is in politics for uh, things other than working for the people, they will talk about other things. They will talk about religion, they will talk about polarization, they will talk about caste and everything else but issues. So that's what I've seen. Yeah.
So finally, what do you have to say to people who aspire to be in politics, irrespective of the gender?
Yeah. So today I feel being in politics is, it has a different meaning. I see a lot of younger people getting attracted to politics for power when it should be for people. So this has to change. And I feel that, everybody wants a ticket, you know. So अब सभी, like I used to say, सब नेता बनेंगे तो कार्यकर्ता कौन बनेगा? You need leaders, but you also need workers. So find your role in politics. Not everybody needs to contest. Um, you have, and also it can be a lifelong vocation. It doesn't have to be, oh, if I don't win, then what do I do? There's so much to do, you know. So politics should become a way of life. You cannot be doing anything else. I mean, you could be right now. For example, I'm in opposition, and so I do keep bringing up local issues, national issues. I have to question the local representative, the elected representative. Um, Apart from that, all I can do is listen to people, what problems they have, and also like social work. Um, be seen, stand with people who need you. So there is so much you can do, and it doesn't have to be about winning elections. It doesn't have to be about being in power. So I think that's the most important thing, that you need to have this resilience, this patience to hang in there for a long, long time, especially if you're young. And like I said, for women, it is especially, tougher. Though, like I, s- you know, I feel in some pockets in our country, women have a chance, especially in um, uh, the city urban constituencies. In the urban constituencies, uh, as a woman, I think you can work your way up. But again, have to be uh, you would have to be more qualified, stronger and um, hardworking than a man in the same situation. Um, so so I that's what I feel. I feel this is what I see all the time, all around me. They talk about is elections. That's their only motivation to be in politics, which is wrong, because the politics doesn't end at an election. It actually starts so if you are planning to join politics, you think of it as activism. I would say think of it as social work first, and think of it as a profession where to you love being with people, and actually people give you that power. So eventually you will have the power to change things, but it will come from the people who stand behind you, who support you, who look up to you as a leader, as their representative. But then again, there is you know if you want to be in politics for public service, that's when all this means anything. A lot of people are in politics to make money, to just get that power high. तो ये एक corruption हो चुका है, so I feel that needs to be cleaned out. We need more thinkers, more educated people, people who for example, I look at people like Sudha Bharadwaj, who have given up their US citizenship, left so much, and is here. I think that's what politics should be. But for some reason, the public doesn't see her as a leader. They don't see. So I think a lot needs to change
as well. Maybe they are not able to relate.
That's what I'm saying. So a lot of I say कि नेता तो तब बदलेगा जब जनता बदलेगी. So जनता needs to change. The the people need to start thinking of politics in a different way. You can be political as a citizen. You don't need to be part of a political party or need to be contesting an election. You can be political just being what you are, a citizen, because a citizen is the most important unit in politics. And if you can't be a good citizen, you can't be a good leader. So first you need to learn how to be a good citizen, be aware of your rights, be aware of your duties, and whom to hold accountable for what. I mean, if the road outside my house is broken, whom do I hold accountable? The councillor, the MLA, the Gram Pradhan, who? I can't call the MLA at 12 a.m. in the night and say, oh, there's a snake in my house. And these are actual things that are happening. People expect the MLA to be available 24 hours. No, that's not her job. She's probably working on some policy and she's working, at a different level. So, so you need to know who's accountable, responsible for what.
Everyone needs to be a politician, like.
Yes, absolutely. So once you are that responsible, aware, educated citizen, then you can aspire to be, become because now what entails being a. So that's why we see a lot of politicians also who don't have no idea what their role is. They're just sitting. Just recently, the video came out of a MLA, BJP MLA checking out. He's playing games, Teen Patti. sitting in the assembly hall. So so they are also not aware of well, if you were not a good citizen, you've not passed class 1, how can you pass class 12? So these are the building blocks of your career. So once you know how to be a good citizen, a strong citizen, you can be a strong politician. And that's what I feel. If you aspire to be in politics, you must be thoroughly aware of these systems, the polity, and everything, because this means a lot. People don't know the workings of our politics, of our assemblies, of our parliament. They don't know who's accountable for what, responsible for what, and that's why they feel that, oh, विधायक को हमारे घर आना चाहिए था. No, that's not their job. I mean, it's good if they visit and they're amongst people, but eventually they have to be working on some kind of policy, working on solutions. They have a big team to manage. They should be issuing orders and checking, progress. How will they do that if they're constantly in the field? And so everything is about election. I need to be seen because I need votes. So who's working when you are all the time you are attending birthdays and weddings and tervis? So who's working then? That means you're not working. So I feel it should be taken as any other serious profession. So if you're aspiring to be in politics, prepare well, study well, about everything, the constitution, everything. And though I've been in this for so long, I still feel I don't know enough. Sometimes I feel I should read books on our, how the law works, everything. The more you know, the better. Information is, or knowledge is power. So be very well informed, and that's what I feel. And it's for the long haul. Nobody should feel that, oh, today I join and I will then, in this many years, I'll become an MLA or an MP. No, maybe I will be in politics for next 20 years, but I will probably not contest or win an election, but I will make a difference even then.
It was a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, same here.
I thoroughly enjoyed the whole conversation, and at no point I wanted to stop you. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I can talk. That's why I'm the national spokesperson. So
all the best on those endeavors as well.
Yes, thank you so much and this was totally not prepared kind of an interview. So if any mistakes, please pardon me, and yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.